Good afternoon. You're watching NTV at 1. My name is Olive Burrows. We start with matters. Nairobi County and Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala, who is the chair of the Nairobi Regeneration Committee, has officially handed over to the committee to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services head, Major General Mohammed Abdallah Badi. Badi has vowed to improve service delivery in the city, and in a short while we'll be hearing from Vincent Odwor on what he plans to get right that the committee got wrong. Now on to matters COVID-19, and the maritime industry has put in place several measures to contain the spread of the virus. Now, Principal Secretary for Maritime and Shipping Affairs, Nancy Karegedu, has directed that all vessel inspections be suspended indefinitely, and that those arriving for fishing expeditions be quarantined, and that all boat service providers provide hand sanitizer for their passengers.
We are urging local authorities and establishments that operate jetties to provide sanitation at the jetties, to sanitize the facilities, and also provide hand washing facilities for both the passengers and users of the jetties. We are also seeking help from the public to cease congregating on the jetties, because we've been told that proximity of people is one way of passing on the disease. We've asked the Kenya Maritime Authority to suspend the vessel inspections that they've been doing, the detailed ones, because we've realized that these have a tendency of congregating people, and this is what has been urged by the National Committee, and therefore this will not be happening.
On to another port of entry, and business owners in Teso North, Busia County, are calling on the government to issue a directive closing the Malaba border following reported cases of COVID-19 in the country. Led by their chairperson, Ken Oiria, the group claims that the border is risky, with high traffic of trucks coming all the way from Mombasa to other counties and back. They also claim that Kenyans living at the border are exposed, and this could create a conflict between them and those operating businesses at the border.
We are bordering the country called Uganda, whereby trailers zinatoka Mombasa huko zikielekea Uganda, ambapo tungependa kuomba sana hata hii border ikiwezekana ifungwe, manake tusiangalia kwamba tutengeneze pesa na ile hali maisha yetu itaangamia. So ni vizuri tujilinde kwanza, ndiposa tuangalie maneno ya kutengeneza uchumi yetu ya Kenya baadaye.
Now, for what we can learn from Asian countries in the fight against the coronavirus, and they have embraced innovative, if somewhat invasive, technology to counter the coronavirus pandemic. Electronic bracelets and phones that report your whereabouts are being modeled to send text messages to authorities in case one strays too far from quarantine centers. Additional digital detectives tracking devices are also being introduced. A Hong Kong stylist, Declan Chan, who flew home from Zurich earlier this week, was greeted by officials who placed an electronic device on his arm. The wristband was connected to an app that he had to install on his phone as he headed into 2 weeks of compulsory self-quarantine at home. It allows authorities to check his location as Hong Kong tries to halt fresh infections from people returning from overseas after 2 months of making impressive headway against its own outbreak. Malaysia has announced that it will deploy the army to support police in enforcing tough restrictions to halt the spread of the coronavirus, because many people are flouting isolation rules. People have been told to stay at home, and all schools and most businesses have closed, while Malaysians are barred from traveling overseas and foreigners from entering the country. However, some residents have reportedly been ignoring the measures introduced this week, with some still going for walks in parks and eating out. The measures were imposed after a surge in new infections, most linked to a mass Islamic gathering near Kuala Lumpur at the start of the month. 2 people have so far died. France officials have announced that the country's two-week lockdown to try to stem the coronavirus is likely to be extended. President Emmanuel Macron ordered French residents to stay at home from Tuesday, except for essential excursions such as going to the doctor, walking the dog, or going for a solitary run, and banned any gatherings. Workers were told that they can go to the office only if home working is not possible. The country's Interior Ministry, however, accused residents of underestimating the risk, stating that there are people who think there are modern-day heroes by breaking the rules when they are in fact acting stupidly. Beaches and hiking trails along the Atlantic coast in Brittany were closed because of a significant number of people walking along the coast, which risks spreading the virus. And back to our top story, the Nairobi Regeneration Committee, chaired by Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala, has handed over its functions to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. We're now joined by Vincent Odwor. Vincent, what does Major General Badi have to say on what he'll do differently that the Regeneration Committee failed to do?
Absolutely, Major General Badi has vowed to really ensure that Nairobi or Nairobians will be receive effective or good or effective service delivery from today, because he's saying that within 100 days he will be able to really do the things that he was told, especially by the president, to be able to do. And one of the things he has been able to talk about, or they've been able to talk about, is really the need to really dismantle the cartels who have taken over some of the functions at City Hall, functions like, supply of water and also issuance of permits. And they are saying that that is one area that they are going to really streamline moving forward from today. And also the issue of corruption. The DG has said that these are going to inform some of the major things he's going to handle moving forward. Because you remember when the tourism CS Balala was handing over the Regeneration Committee to him, he said that there are some of the things that really acted as obstacles to their service delivery, including political interference, destabilization of governance at City Hall, the issue of reshuffling the CSS, and also cartels. And Malala said that this is something that is no more from today, because he was arguing that they were operating on an informal agreement which had no legal framework or basis. But now he's saying with the establishment of the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, this is going to be effective, and it's going to be efficient in terms of delivering service, because it has a legal backing, and also it has some political will, especially from the highest office on land. And they are saying that from today moving forward, there are things that he's going to make sure he has been able to deliver within the 100 days, including services to do with the collection of garbage in the city, supply of water, things to do with the construction permits, because they're saying when it comes to construction permits, this is one area that really cartels have been able to take over, and they are going to really streamline that to ensure that issuance of permits will be transparent and also be able to be accessed by majority of Nairobi residents. And therefore, this is a matter that we are going to see from today moving forward. And also I asked the DG whether really his background when it comes to military informed the decision of President Uhuru Kenyatta to really appoint him to this position, and what he has to say about the militarization of solutions in Nairobi. And the DG really denied, saying that he's been staying here in Nairobi, he understands Nairobi, and he knows what Nairobians are going through, and therefore he was appointed to this position based on his capabilities, and it had nothing to do with his military background. But the CS Najib Balala said the military background of the DG will also play a big role, especially when it comes to bringing order in Nairobi, because he's saying that is what is needed in Nairobi, or especially at City Hall, and that will be seen as an added advantage that the DG is coming with as far as taking over the operation of Nairobi. And also we've been told when it comes to the functions that were transferred to the national government, the essential functions, all the CECs in charge of these functions will now henceforth be reporting to the DG directly, and that is what will be happening. And also on Monday, all the CECs are going to have a meeting with the DG to really brief him and also be able to share how they are going to move forward. And also the DG will be able to share with the CECs his plan, his strategy, and also what they are going to work on moving forward. And he's saying that basically right now the DG is the one who will be in charge of running Nairobi City, Nairobi County, and he'll be the one who will be at the top of leadership and governance of the city, and the CECs will be reporting to him directly as the Director General Service. And therefore this is something that we'll watch moving forward to see whether the DG will be able to deliver some of the things he has said he'll make sure he deliver in 100 days, because he has said after 100 days he's going to do an evaluation and really come to us and tell us what are some of the things he has been able to deliver. That is it for now. I'm taking you back to studio.
All right. Thank you, Vincent Odor. Covered that handover by the Nairobi Regeneration Committee to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. Now back to COVID-19, and 8 people have been quarantined in Mombasa County after their samples taken for COVID-19 testing. Mombasa County Commissioner Gilbert Kitio says that the results are expected today, as he also indicates that there are several others who have been put in self-quarantine after arriving into the country. Meanwhile, the Mombasa County Emergency Response Committee on COVID-19 has come up with a raft of regulations as additional precautionary measures against the deadly virus. The committee, which held its meeting Thursday, came up with 8 new measures which will be effected immediately in efforts to fight the spread of the coronavirus. Kevin Mutai with the details.
In efforts to combat the spread of the coronavirus, the Emergency Response Committee on the disease here in Mombasa has agreed to add new necessary preventive measures against COVID-19. The committee has resolved to, among others, suspend all congregational prayer gatherings for the next 14 days, including churches and mosques. They also agreed to close the wholesale area of Kongowea Market for a period of 30 days. This will come into effect from Monday, and wholesalers will be resettled to open-air markets within the county.
Kuna kamati maalum ambayo wanaenda kufanya identification na wajue ni sehemu gani ambazo zitawekwa mahali inafikia mwananchi wa kawaida kwa haraka.
The committee also wants immediate closure of all bars, playgrounds, gyms, movie theaters, liquor stores, video cafes and massage parlors. Hair salons and barbershops will be allowed to operate, but under tight supervision. All M-Pesa agents must also have hand sanitizers. Same applies to all financial institutions, including ATMs. Also, bus companies operating in Mombasa must from today disinfect their vehicles and avail thermometer guns for passenger screening before boarding. Those with patients in hospitals have been directed to only allow one family member to visit, and this has also been restricted to once per day. The Emergency Response Committee on COVID-19 is also recommending minimal number of visits to all offices. Finally, all commercial buildings must provide hand washing facilities at the entrance.
Kuna kitu inatufanya tufanye hivyo, kwa sababu kuna watu wengi wako kwa quarantine wakati huu hapa Mombasa ambao walisafiri kutoka nje, na pia kuna wengine hata sample zao zimechukuliwa iende ipimo ya watu 8. Tunangojea matokeo leo. Kwa hivyo tukingojea hizo wiki mbili, kama hizi zote zinakuwa negative, sisi tutakuwa sawa kabisa.
The county's inspectorate department and security officers will be tasked with enforcing the regulations and ensure that members of the public comply. COVID-19 has killed thousands of people globally, and the national government under the Ministry of Health has installed surveillance and put in place all resources to contain the spread of the virus. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Well, the Association of Public Health Workers says they are forced to be at the front line battling COVID-19 without proper protective gear, which puts their lives at risk. The health workers want the government to procure and distribute adequate personal protective equipment, as well as conduct rigorous training for all health workers countrywide to improve on preparedness, detection, and a timely response.
So we are asking and we are calling upon the CS. You know, we cannot just bury our hands to the sands. This issue of corona has hit this country. We are telling the CS that the public health officers are the link people between the community and the referral system. So we should make sure that we employ more public health officers, train public health officers. I'm aware there's a training going on for clinicians. We have no problem with training clinicians. We have no training curative aspects. But the public health officers who are the link people between the community level and the level of the referral, they are the most key people.
I've seen tremendous response of all disciplines, and we are calling upon all of us to work hand in hand so that we can come up with a cool solution on this issue. Again, we are calling upon the government to strengthen the people who are coming from outside, so that we don't just allow people coming and we don't know their status. They can be isolated in the airport if they are coming for 14 days. Let us not release them until we find they are safe, so that we can control this issue as soon as possible. Otherwise, we are praying that this issue will leave us the soonest, and we are going to live as usual life. On the issues of pass and those places of enjoyments, right now, we don't really want to be in enjoyment. Let us close all of them and remain suspended until we have this issue sorted out. Because those are the places where it's going to add up the transmission of this condition, COVID-19. Otherwise, I have no much. I want to just congratulate my officers in the field. Let us continue. And all factories, we are calling upon them also to employ these public health officers so that they can add up in the wash and facilities and provide.
I'm also supporting the idea of closure of markets and social gatherings. And I'm also appealing to all public health officers and the technicians in this country, because they are empowered by law to enforce all what our leaders are talking about, and it is our mandate to ensure that all whatever is being said is enforced. So I'm appealing to all public health officers to ensure that we are adhering to what the law says.
The frontline health workers, they are the first people to be in contact. If the flights come from China, for example, they are the first to board, and they screen them. And so they are the most vulnerable in terms of occupational health and safety. And that is why we said they need to be given maximum protection in terms of personal protective equipment.
More on the impact of COVID-19 on the country after this break.
New Blue Band Peanut Butter. Made with 100% pure peanuts and a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with New Blue Band Peanut Butter.
Together stay free, whatever ends. No, we can't stop. We wanna taste the feeling. Nothing can ever bring us down. Taste the feeling.
X breathable surface developed with Airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Now more than ever, you need to be abreast with the daily happenings wherever you are. Get the Daily Nation e-paper with a free COVID-19 newsletter at a special highly discounted rate of Kenya shillings 500 for a period of 1 month. Daily Nation. News anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back to NTV at 1. My name is Olive Barrows. Marsabit County is experiencing a severe shortage of hand sanitizers. The artificial shortage has also affected operations at the county referral hospital as local suppliers have taken advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic. That is despite President Uhuru Kenyatta's warning traders against hiking prices of goods and services.
The Marsabit Referral Hospital is facing a severe shortage of hand sanitizers occasioned by hiking of prices by local suppliers. Speaking to NTV, the hospital's chief executive officer, Libanwako, says they need immediate intervention as the hospital has been hit by the crisis for the past 2 days.
For the last 1 or 2 days, we have a shortage of sanitizers. We are running out of it. So in the place, we have decided to provide liquid soap.
Despite President Kenyatta's warning on businesses hiking prices of goods and services, the hospital laments that suppliers, particularly in Meru, have hiked the prices of sanitizers.
After the demand has been raised due to the outbreak of the corona, the suppliers have decided to hike the prices. By the second day, they have started saying 1,500 from 220 shilling. So by yesterday, it was standing at 2,000.
The hospital has put in place preventive measures with the pandemic by reducing patient visiting hours from 1 hour to 5 minutes, and only 1 visitor per patient will be allowed in the hospital. Visitors will only be allowed to visit patients who are critical. In Marsabit, 19 beds have been set aside for COVID-19 cases within the county that shares a 500-kilometer porous border with Ethiopia. Mamo Ali, NTV, Marsabit.
Following the lack of water, soap and hand sanitizers at the Molo main market, a local businessman has decided to make his money by offering hand washing services at a fee. Take a look.
Most markets in the country have closed down as a way of mitigating the spread of coronavirus. However, Daniel Kamau, a trader here at Molo Market, has taken advantage of the situation by creating a hand-washing service that comes at a fee to protect his colleagues and customers that come to this market.
Hii Kenya haina chochote cha bure. Niliamua kutafuta sanitizer, ikanigharimu miaka kadhaa. Nimenunua bucket, nimeweka kile chombo cha kufungulia na pia ile bucket ya kuchukulia yale maji.
Ingawa anatulipisha, si tunaona ni afadhali kwa sababu hakuna maji, ananunua maji, amejinunulia sabuni, akuje at least tujisaidie.
But what happens to those who can't afford his fee?
Lakini kutokana na kuzorota kwa uchumi, wengi hawawezi kugharimu ile shilingi 10. Hivyo wengine hata wanakuja wananawa alafu wananiambia sina chochote.
Ni vizuri tuzingatie usafi ndio tupunguze kuenea kwa ugonjwa, na pia katika hali yetu tukue katika hali mzuri ya kiafya. Na tunaomba serikali kama inaweza kutuletea maji na ituletee sabuni, ituwekee katika vituo tofauti, itakuwa ni vizuri, wataweza kutusaidia.
These traders have decided to take measures to contain any spread of the coronavirus, as their bread and butter is dependent on the services they provide to their customers. Ruth Sarmui, NTV.
Now, for a quick look at what's happening in the world of business, the Cooperative Bank has reported a profit before tax of 20.7 billion shillings for the 2019 full year. This is compared to 18.2 billion shillings recorded in 2018, an indication of a 14% growth in the year. Profit after tax was posted at 14.3 billion shillings compared to 12.7 billion shillings in the previous year. Operating income rose by 16% to 43.6 billion shillings and attributed to growth in interest income from government securities. Interest income from loans and advances decreased slightly by 3.5% to 31.78 billion shillings. The Board of Directors has recommended a dividend of 1 shilling per ordinary share held. Tragically, legendary Soukous Star Alous Mabele is dead. The 67-year-old had been battling throat cancer for years, even though the cause of his death is yet to be confirmed. The Congolese singer is believed to have passed away in France, which has seen 371 deaths for the coronavirus. Mabele was one of the founders of the legendary supergroup Loketo, and that broke up a few years later. He was one of the first Paris-based Soukous Stars and set the standard with which several others in the 1980s followed. Mabele, known for hits such as Embargo, will be remembered fondly, and those are just a few of the songs he's remembered for. Sports news, and again we start tragically. Veteran Kenyan Premier League coach Henry Omino died early this morning after a long battle with cancer. Omino was last at the helm of the newly promoted Kisumu All Stars until early this year. Before that, he previously coached Kisumu Posta, Agrochemical and Western Stima. Omino, who also served as a technical director at Western Stima, won the Sports Journalists Association of Kenya Coach of the Month award numerous times, notably twice in June and July of 2016. Omino, who was famously known as Zagalo, was 57 years old. The Olympic flame has arrived in Japan to a scaled-down welcoming ceremony, even as doubts continue to grow over whether the Tokyo 2020 Games will go ahead on schedule, with the coronavirus epidemic causing doubts around the world. Japanese Olympic Committee Executive Board member Kaori Yamaguchi, a former Olympic judoka, was the latest prominent figure to call for a postponement, citing the difficulties faced by athletes. With 4 months to go before the Olympics, qualifying events have been seriously hampered. This is as the Olympics chief, Thomas Bach, admitted that different scenarios were under consideration.
In close cooperation with the IOC, the government and Tokyo City, and taking into account the advice from the WHO, we will do everything in our power to prepare safe games for Tokyo 2020 in July.
The Serbian government has threatened to press charges against the country's Real Madrid striker Luka Jovic for breaking his mandatory 28 days coronavirus quarantine. This is according to the state news agency, with the Interior Minister stating that the law calls for sentences of 1 to 12 years in jail for ignoring self-isolation or quarantine orders. Among those who have criticized Jovic was Serbia's Prime Minister. The Real Madrid ace, who was spotted out and about in Belgrade at his girlfriend's birthday party, has since taken to social media to apologize, stating that he was wrongly advised. Well, that's it for NTV at 1. Remember, keep your hands off your face, wash them diligently, and stay at home if you can.